gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any materials produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present Girls vs. Ghosts, The Mind's Eye with Stephanie Hutnick, live only on Spreaker. Join us in our live interactive chat by going to Spreaker.com or download the free Spreaker app for all devices. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Stephanie Hutnick.
Welcome to the show. Here's Stephanie.
Well, good Sunday evening to everyone listening. It is Sunday, October 13th, and tonight's show I'm excited for. I am being joined by Matt Warner and Rachel Hoffman, another paranormal power couple. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. So, it's been a while since I had you guys on, and I had you guys on separately last time, which is weird because I always attribute you guys as a couple, So I'm like,
yeah, we're together.
Yeah. So you guys are both, to me anyway, huge parts of the paranormal community and field and what we do. I appreciate you both for your genuine personalities, attitudes, and opinions on different things, research-wise and otherwise.
Thank you.
What have you guys been up to? Sorry, let me backtrack here. They are both a part of Warner Paranormal, PXP, and is, Rachel, just correct me if I'm wrong, is Paranormal Expeditions the same as PXP or different entities?
Well, we Paranormal Expeditions is just going to be kind of my solo project, so I can stick to some of the true crime stuff that I do. And we're making PXP our merge page where we can kind of be a couple and do some of the things that we do in the community and with each other more live. But we keep the content separate, and I'll let Matt describe his Warner Paranormal.
We're kind of in the divide and conquer type of mentality right now, where we have different views and very varying different opinions on what we both enjoy out of the paranormal. So with her Paranormal Expeditions page, she's free to explore it without having to run things by me, and vice versa for me with Warner Paranormal. I mean, as you guys know, I'm more light tone, and I keep things light and don't take much seriously and have a good time with things. So that's where I roll.
I'm a total dud and I don't have any fun. I'm just kidding. I like it more serious. I'm really into the, the graphic nature of the true crime and things like that. So it's really fun. We're having a great time with it, and we're enjoying building the content and creating more for the viewers.
Well, it's always so fun to watch you guys, and I want to tell the viewers that are listening live and that will listen later, too, to follow your pages on Facebook, and we'll give that information to you at the end, but their lives are a hoot, guys.
Thank you.
That's us. That's not hamming it up for the camera whatsoever. We actually kind of tone it down a bit because people don't know us personally. And some people might call the police on me, and I don't want that.
No, but when you guys find a cool antique market or a craft sale and maybe bring home a haunted item or, just kind of uncover something as you guys go through every day, it's just really fun to watch. And so we'll make sure everybody can tune into that too. Shay just said she loves true crime, Rachel. So what's been going on, guys? Like, what are some of the things that you've been up to lately coming up, and kind of go from there?
Well, we have a Warner Paranormal / PXP conjunct couple of events coming up, but we're doing an event at the Oliver House in Middleborough, November 2nd, one of our frequent haunts. And that is a private event that we're putting on as our Day of the Dead celebration. It actually wound up selling out in record time, which really made me happy. And I was excited to see that so many people wanted to come out and hang out with us and have a little Halloween party at a haunted house. So we've got that going. And then we were asked by a friend of ours to join in on a big group investigation in Braintree, November 16th. And that's part of some historical preservation. So one of the things that I've really been into, what a big part of the paranormal for me is the history and the architecture and all that stuff. I'm a history buff, and now what I'm really looking forward to is being able to do more events where I'm donating my time and everything, and all the money raised is going back into these locations to preserve them and keep the history alive. So I really enjoy being able to do that, and that's kind of where I've been focusing on my end of things. Yeah,
and that to me in the paranormal field, I know I'm probably more of a psychic medium than investigator compared to you guys and what you do, but that's something I've always found very important. And I guess, I know I live in Savannah now, but Detroit is home, and I've seen a lot of locations lately be closed down after 50 years, or one that's been abandoned for 20, or it doesn't that amount of time doesn't really matter to me. It's why aren't we preserving these places? So what is the importance of that to you guys?
I feel like with we have the Making of America here in Massachusetts, so we have the very beginnings, and Matt and I have just witnessed places like the Westboro State Hospital become a place that should have been a walk-through museum to pay homage and lay highlight to the past mental health crisis that we had going on with the overcrowdings in these buildings, and to lay the eyes on history so we don't make those same mistakes again. And we just took down the building that we could have, went through and historically preserved in some ways. But when you let them go, that's it. A year later, they can be in ruins. We've seen places that in 10 years, they look like the apocalypse.
Well, a lot of these places, I've been experienced with this in Detroit at Eloise Psychiatric Hospital, and that laid vacant since 1984 until just last year, 2018. And the team I was on at the time, we were very lucky to have met this owner and kind of talk him into, don't tear it down just yet, don't remodel it just yet. There's these people, their family members were patients here, or their mom might have been a nurse. There's just so many people tied to this that want a chance to experience it. And, for many different reasons. And so that was so cool that the owner heard us and made it happen. And so just experiencing that whole thing transpire was even more eye-opening. And it's changed hands now in teams, but it's still going strong, and people are still getting to experience it, whether they believe in the supernatural or paranormal or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in a way, it preserves history for even after we're gone. We're only here for the blink of an eye, and then, our story will be left in wait too. Some of the places that we're seeing now, Salem especially, Sheriff George Corwin's house has been pretty well preserved. And some of those places that you can go and see, and you can actually enjoy the architecture of the past and watch how it's evolved over the years. And it's so beautiful to see how things were created and how people strived and survived back in the early days.
Right. So you guys are dedicating your time to these different locations, and while there may be events there, am I correct in saying that the money from the ticket sales are going back into these locations?
Many of the events that we're doing, 100% of the money goes right back to the house.
Incredible.
Yep. And
I love that.
it's I don't want to say it's a trend, but it seems to be a trend, which is a one that I would welcome, because without us, they're going to fall apart.
And we're going to provide each graph with each project. So for every, let's say, $1,000 donated, we're going to make it very clear which portion of these locations is being fixed and where the money's targeted. So it's going to be very open. And, you know, in a way, we get the satisfaction, and all the people that come and help donate and put hands on the place help to rebuild it, and they get to see it happen kind of virtually before their eyes.
Right. And so are you guys working with like the individual owners of some of these locations, or historical societies, cities? How does that work?
The one in Braintree, we're working with the Braintree Historical Society through a friend of ours. And with the Oliver House has got the same deal going. The money that you pay to rent that place goes right back into renovating it. So we have a really good relationship. That's owned by the town, but it's run by a bunch of, you know, our really close friends now, and we love them and love that place and would do anything for them in that location. So we're getting ourselves known, and we're getting in with the right people and getting to help out best we can.
Yeah, well, without people like you or us doing these things, I mean, a city or whoever owns the actual property, I guess itself, would probably jump at the chance to sell it to a gas station for $1 million. So, I mean, it is up to us at this point. Nobody else is going to do it.
Absolutely. And because we're in there, you know, we do as investigators take the risk as going in and bringing all of our equipment and things that are precious to us to these events time and again. But we get to lay things out and educate people on the right way to do things, and have really great experiences. And I have made a lot of really great personal friends over the years by going face-to-face contact with people during these events. All passionate people.
Yeah, very, very. It's so cool. And I mean, I guess so. I guess some people would probably say or think maybe, would they be doing this if it wasn't haunted? And what do you guys say to that?
Well, there's two sides to that, because I've actually been met with opposition from a very local place to me that they need money, they want to preserve, they don't want to be known as a haunt, because their opinion of people that go to these things, they feel like people are going to be breaking in and this and that. And I'm still working with them. I bring them, like, you know, breakdowns of what we've done for other buildings and how we're helping them. So I'm working on that. But on the flip side, I go into everything as if it's not haunted, because I'm super skeptical of everyone and everything. And a lot of times I believe that people want to say their place is haunted to drum up business. So I go in the historical aspect. I want to go and check out the architecture, feel the living history and things like that. And if there's a ghost there, great. That's bonus for me. So we have ways of working with different people depending on how they're trying to spin their story.
Right. So I have to ask you really quickly then, have there been any locations that you went to, both of you, that have big claims to being haunted and maybe haven't been? Or at least you didn't experience anything at the time, like at all?
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of experiences that don't live up to the hype of certain locations. And certain locations I'm not going to put on blast because I don't want to do that right now. But
yeah, we don't have to.
Some places are just trying to pay their mortgage, and I can't fault them for that. But I don't get into that whole, like, you see it nowadays. Everything is haunted because it's old. It doesn't matter. It's old. Come check out this haunted tree house out behind my old haunted shitter in the woods. It's just whatever, because it's old. People are saying it's haunted now, and it gives the field kind of a shady name, and that's what I'm trying to get people away from.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm not naming names, and I'm not trying to get controversial, but lately there's been a lot of new paranormal shows on TV.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible.
Watching them, right? And I respect everybody in this field, and I respect their craft and what they do. But a lot of it, to me, just seems like pareidolia, and I'm like, how? Like, how? What is making you think that? Like, why would you jump to some of these places? And I know it's TV, so entertainment value is like a huge factor. But is that what you guys are seeing as well? Like, what do you think?
We came into a location where a woman was actually pretty disappointed that her house wasn't haunted. So,
no.
Yeah, it's, we all want to have something special, But the truth is, we know that energy happens to some of us. Some of us can experience things 10 times over, and some of us never get to experience them in your whole life. So it could be based off sensitivity alone. It could be based off the location, personal experience. But, you know, sometimes these energies are very, like, pleasant. You know, just because it's haunted doesn't mean it's negative. Everybody's like, oh my God, haunted. That must mean like evil. And it doesn't. Like, these people are awesome and they were once living and they're intelligent and you can have conversations with them. And, you know, like, they're not just running around ripping people's hair out and pushing people down the stairs. Like, get a grip.
Exactly.
They're just occupying the space. That's all. And sometimes they, just like me, I would ignore somebody if they were not my favorite person. That's a possibility. You know?
Absolutely. Jay wants to know, if you guys felt a place was lying about being haunted, would you go back?
No. That's easy for me. No, if they, like, okay, let's say if we, are you saying if it was a known place that's trying to make money or someone that's trying to trick investigators?
She didn't specify, but I guess it doesn't matter how you look at it. I guess whatever you think.
Well, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, my answer would still probably be no. I mean, if someone's trying to trick us and fool us and we figure that out, like, you wasted my time, first of all. And time is so precious to me. And we don't charge for that stuff. You know, if someone needs help and we go to find out that it was all fabricated, I'd be pissed. And I'd make sure to tell every investigator I know within a 100-mile radius of the person so they didn't get duped also.
And for me,
yes.
I don't... Sorry, mine's just different. I've never had somebody lie to me about anything in the paranormal. Sometimes people will downplay things if the death of their loved one was embarrassing, like a drunk driving accident or something like that. That's the kind of experience I've had. But I would be so fearful to call somebody a liar because I know from experience I've been called that before. So I would be just super careful on treading on people's experiences. We don't know what people are going through personally. So I would always just take the time to listen. I don't know if I would have the money to go out and be able to help the person necessarily, but I would always give it my best.
Yeah, and sometimes, like you were mentioning this, sometimes experiences are just so personal. Mm-hmm. And they might not have anybody else. And this is my perspective as an intuitive. I mean, I've experienced things that, you know, Eric sitting next to me might not. And that doesn't mean there's no activity, there's no harm, and it could just be residual and happen at certain times too. But yeah, but I mean, I guess the question is posed to be like you're being duped, but you guys both had incredible answers, and everyone in chat's like right answer, and then they're saying demon.
Oh, demons, a whole nother. We could talk about demons for hours. You know my thoughts on that.
Well, we're going to talk about the D word because
D word.
We got to talk about the D word at some point because it's just, I think to an extent, the field is kind of scaring people because they make it seem, not everybody, so I want to clarify that, not everybody, but in certain circumstances, they make, like Rachel was just touching on, not every haunting is negative, but that's the way they portray it. So I think people that are maybe experiencing things at home or at work or, you know, certain places, they're scared because they don't, that's what their mind immediately goes to, is this ghost's going to hurt me or this entity is going to hurt me. And it's so far and few between.
Yeah. And they think the interaction is negative, like we've seen before, and we laugh at it because we're asking these ghosts to manifest enough energy to knock something over, to touch us, and then when they do, everybody's like, oh my God, it's a demon. And it makes me feel really bad because then, you know, we're asking for all of this energy, and I know it can't be easy. And then,
but like somebody's like old, frail grandma, and it took everything she had. She drained a battery and moved something, and she just literally, all she wants is for that person to know she's there, like watching over them. And then immediately they're like demonic. I don't like that people's thoughts just immediately go to that. It sucks.
Mm-hmm. It's true. So people you get what you ask for sometimes, you know, if you're lucky anyway. That's a great manifestation to have something move.
I was going to say, Darren, really quick, I'm going to get to all your questions. Darren, you guys, Matt and Rachel, Darren is one of our beloved live listeners.
Mm-hmm. Well, hello. Thank you for listening.
So let's just ask Darren's questions then, because I don't want to forget about Darren. So his first question was, what is your device of choice?
Well, you know what? It would have been a 1-2 punch of the Melmeter and the Obelisk. That's always been my favorite combo, and like I'm that douche that'll carry one in each hand. But I've kind of scaled back now, and I have this new Panoptic DVR that I got, and I absolutely love that. But honestly, what's in my hand the most is my cell phone, because I'm usually going Facebook Live for everybody to see. So probably my cell phone.
It's the best piece of paranormal equipment. It is. But I really prefer to sit down and talk to, the ghosts or spirits or whatever. Everybody has a different name for them. I'm not offended by any of them. But I prefer EVP sessions and live burst sessions myself. So I would have to say the DVR is my favorite.
I love it too. I'm kind of just like, well, I guess being psychic medium, I just like to walk through with nothing initially. But I do love just like a good old spirit box, like an SD7 or a recorder, and I'm usually good. But my first encounter with the Obelisk was actually with you guys, with your doll at that hotel at the Hunting the Haunted Paracon, and it blew my mind, actually. I've never actually got to use one again since then, but one day I'll have one.
They're a lot of fun.
We'll be coming down to you guys soon. We'll play with it in Savannah.
Yeah.
Yes, we have so many places to take you guys.
Oh my gosh, we cannot wait. You have no idea. It's like on our list of things. Hi.
I'm itching. Come down. Here's the next question. If you came across a full-bodied apparition, what would you want it to be, and what would you say? So I guess what do you mean, like, what do you want it to be, like maybe who, or like a person? I guess I don't know.
I mean, the goal would be if we were going somewhere to any individual location and trying to locate the person that was said to be maybe haunting this space. It would be nice to catch one of those. I caught the apparition of Billie Holiday at the Storyville in Boston during the renovations. It was a daytime shot. Yeah, it's crazy what you can catch. Sometimes we leave the camera rolling for that reason during the day, during the the initial walkthrough. More stuff happens during that time, but we run into them by accident. They're just standing there doing their job, doing what they would normally be doing if they were walking through the place with flesh and bones.
I guess for me, I'd like it to be someone that I actually recognized and could have an interaction with, like something more than just a quick snippet vision, but an actual interaction. I wouldn't care if it was recorded, because for me, it's more about personal experiences than anything else, anyways. But if it was someone, like whether I knew them or knew who they were and had a small interaction, that would be my ultimate wish, I guess, if there was a shadow person.
Mm-hmm. Mine would have to be. Mine's more a joke. Well, it's not actually a joke, because I'd actually truly love it. But I'd want it to be David Bowie. Aww. And I would ask him if we could recreate the ballroom scene in Labyrinth.
Oh my gosh, yes. I love that. My heart is aching. Oh, that's so sweet, Steph. I love it.
All right. Darren asked if you believe in holy water, or is it just water?
I'm going to start with this one because I'm going to actually segue first, because I haven't done that yet tonight. I've stayed very on point with you.
Go for it.
I've got a new little segment that I'm going to be putting out via our YouTube channel and on Facebook Live under Warner Paranormal. It's going to be my unpopular opinion segment, and this fits in perfectly with that. So you know me. I don't bullshit or make things up. I'm pretty straightforward. So I'll tell you, I don't believe in holy water whatsoever. I'm not religious whatsoever either. I'm not a disbeliever in religion. I'm in the mindset you're entitled to what you believe, but I think holy water is just water.
My opinion is different. I believe, because I'm a witch, I do believe in the powers of touch and possibly enchanting things that we that we touch and put our hands on, especially if we do them while we're praying or thinking or chanting, in my case. So I think we put magic into everything we touch. So some of us carry around lucky objects that we won't go on to investigations without. Some of us have stones or things that we feel are protection amulets. And I do believe in the power of thought and touch. And, we can push away negativity, and whatever you need, that pacifier that you need to make you feel comfortable going out there, it's like your blankie, your safety blankie. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. If you believe it, I believe it.
So mine's kind of like a mix of both of yours. I'm more spiritual than religious, but I agree with both of you. I think if you give it power, like you just said, Rachel, like if you believe in it that much that you feel that you need it, then it will do something for you. But it doesn't have to be called holy to do so. Like you said, it could be a pencil. It really doesn't matter. Like if you just have that belief, then you're, I believe that you're protected. You're going to be okay. Yeah,
our charms in the paranormal, we all have. I mean, I know millions of people that I'm like, oh my gosh, they carry that too. Like stones and stuff like that, or they rotate the stones in their pockets, and or there's always the bottle of holy water. James Anito is famous for that. He's got like a few varieties. I'm not sure where he gets them from, but I think that if things are blessed, they're blessed.
Yeah, when we were at the Hunting the Haunted Paracon, and it was the same night we were using the obelisk, and I say her name wrong, and I don't want to, but your doll, is it Amelie?
Ameline. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So she's intense, but I love her at the same time. But that night we had Ed had his box, Sean Austin had his box. There was just so many different things and apps running where we were trying to communicate at one point. And I was just getting like really bad vibes. So not only did James Anito put holy water on me, he put a pinch of salt in my pocket. But at that moment, I felt I needed something. Yeah. So put my belief into it, and then I started feeling better. So I really just believe it's these girls. There's, what are you going to do?
You can change the channels of your mind, too, from fear.
It's like the power of suggestion, just in a different form.
It's good. And it's good to have somebody calm you down. He's a very calming person. That's why he's a healer.
He is. All right, Darren wants to know, what's one object in the world you would never want to be haunted? I have one that's inappropriate. I'm not going to say it.
I think we're on the same page, Stephanie. Matt's just red.
No, I'm just. I want to give a really good answer. Better than not giving an answer at all. What are you talking about?
I mean, I don't know.
I went right to the inappropriate answer.
Well, my mind is scanning through those, but I know better.
To me, I think that I don't know. Jeez, that's a really tough question. Great question, because I
feel like I want everything to be haunted.
Oh, God, please, yeah.
Well, we do seek this stuff out, so it's not. I'm not really scared of anything.
Right. So it's a little different, but I guess my answer is still the inappropriate one.
I know. Yeah, I don't want Matt to be haunted because then he'd be gone.
Right. I don't want Eric to.
I don't want our people to be haunted.
I guess I wouldn't want my toilet to be haunted because you spend time there.
Yeah, and that's like quiet time, thinking time.
I would want my coffee pot to be haunted. That's an everyday.
That's a tricky one. I have to follow up.
I don't want my cat to be haunted.
No. Okay, I want to ask you guys your opinion on what happened yesterday, actually, really quick, and then I promise we're going to talk about you. So we sat down. I worked all day. We're tired. We're like, oh, we missed Ghost Nation on Friday. Let's watch it. So we just sit down on the couch. We have this ottoman. Set my phone down. We turn the show on, and my phone's literally 7 to 10 feet away from us. It's off. The screen's black. All of a sudden, my phone lights up, Siri's going by herself, and it just says, I'm here, I'm here. And like, Eric doesn't really react to a lot of things like that, like circumstantial, weird things like that. He literally is covered in goosebumps, and I just have this, like, uneasy feeling and, like, this nausea take over me. So, I mean, do you guys think that, like, Siri could be activated by spirit? What's your opinion on that?
I think that
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that when you watch things on television, when you talk about the paranormal, you automatically open doorways. And even though you were just watching it on television, a lot of people don't realize that's a channel. That's basically like straight to you. So I'm here is indicating that whatever you were watching on television had joined you in your house. That's my opinion.
See, I think of how well Siri can hear a human being speak and pick up on fluctuations in language. It must have incredibly acute hearing. So we think all the time with EVPs, you won't hear that said live, but it records it. I think Siri is just an opposite version of that. It can hear things talking to it, and when it gets the right command, it probably just talks like it.
Right. Well, you guys know, like, iPhones, you have to press a button and ask Siri to talk. Like, you can't, like, it just doesn't go off by itself. That's what kind of took me by surprise. I'm like, my phone's like, the screen's off, like everything's completely off, but it's so far away from us. Like, no one said anything remotely near the word Siri, and then you still have to turn the phone on and press the button first. So,
right.
I don't know. I thought that was really strange.
Something came through your living room. I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. They had a similar experience where something was knocked over in their house while they were watching something, paranormal on TV. And they don't realize it's an invitation. We invite these things into our home as soon as we talk about them. It's a channel. It opens.
Right. And then my mind went to, like, I've been doing a ton of card readings lately too. So I'm like, have I, like, just, like, been so open lately too that I'm just, maybe
definitely
things are just through, you never know.
Yeah, definitely closing some of those and focusing on that, that protection and making sure there's boundaries set in your home. That's important.
Yeah. So you guys, I saw that on Facebook that you guys went to the world's record-breaking Ouija board. How was that?
That was cool to be able to see that in person. It was a very impressive sight. The weather was overcast, which was good because it gives you the creepy Halloween vibes of Salem. And Ripley's Believe It or Not was there to record it and present them with a certificate for the world's largest Ouija board. So it was really nice to see those guys getting their dues because they put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I thought I saw were there like individual pieces of wood that made like the one big Ouija board? Like it was made out of sheets of plywood. House. I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
It was made out of full sheets of plywood. I don't know how many. I actually count how many, but it had to have been 80 sheets of plywood, if not more. I mean, it was massive, and they put it together on a platform. And what you were mentioning with the Hinsdale House and Vidi Space, they sold advertising spots on the Ouija board in order to make it.
Oh, well, that's cool. I didn't know that. I just saw the one piece, and I'm like, oh, how cool is that?
I took a video. I'm going to post it later. I didn't wind up going back on Facebook because we had Matt's reunion yesterday. So we wound up running all around, but I took an actual video of it because it was so massive that people are trying to capture it in the pano picture. But I saw Kyle Palmer's picture is the same as mine. It's got like that dip in the middle because it's so large. You can't focus the arrow completely across the whole thing. So I took a video for people that, sorry, there's a motorcycle going by. There's a video. I'll just put it out there. You guys can see it's like massive. The planchette is gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah, awesome. Well, so at the end, we'll make sure we tell everyone your Facebook pages again. So you guys both focus on the same thing but different things. So I wanted to talk to you both about, just the differences, I guess. So Rachel, you mentioned true crime and kind of focusing on that. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
So, yeah, I think that me and Matt touch on different things, different topics like you do as a couple in the paranormal. And I really am hyper-focused on the true crime aspect. And by that, I mean everything from the history to the stories, to the families, to the victims, to going out to these places and paying homage to the people that are, unfortunately known as victims for the rest of their eternity, instead of just being known as people, like we forgot who they were. And it's really important to me to kind of go back and turn those pages back and start figuring out who these people were before they were victims of Jeffrey Dahmer or victims of Ted Bundy.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, with true crime, are you, obviously there's the popular choices like those two you just mentioned and the huge serial killers that everyone knows about, but do you work on any missing persons cases or anything like that, locally too?
Yeah, I've worked with the police before on the case in the Freetown Forest where we had a lot of activity. I filmed a movie a couple years ago, and it wound up going out for, it won a Chicago Paranormal Film Festival award. And the girls that were actually told me the nickname of the person that murdered them. And then a year later, the police exhumed their bodies and found out that the girls had told me before they even figured it out forensically. So it was very powerful for me. And I knew then that I had really honestly made contact with these ladies.
So when you're investigating true crime, do you do anything different than you would in just an old house when investigating?
Yeah, I try to collect biomatter so that there is some actual material evidence to back up some of the claims that I am, going to these places. Sometimes the spirits tell me the coordinates, where to go, north, left, right, left. It's amazing. And I always follow the directions. So I'm always in hopes that I'll be able to find somebody and connect those puzzle pieces.
Yes, and I love that you're doing that. Keep on doing that.
Thank you.
I think it's very, very important.
Thank you. Yeah, it's important to me too. I feel like it's a calling. I feel like sometimes I just hear them, and they want their stories to be told.
Yeah, so you're giving them a voice.
Thank you.
Perfect. Matt, what about you? What's your favorite? Okay, I guess what's the force and drive behind your investigating?
So for me, I like doing it for fun. It's always been about fun for me. I don't pretend otherwise, I enjoy the thrill of chasing ghosts. It's like another way of chasing treasure, like when you're a kid and you're always out doing that stuff. So I do it for fun. I got into it because I love horror, so I'm a horror nut as well. So with my page and my content, I share a lot of horror things. And I also, as you probably know, I love to entertain. So I love doing the events. Those are my favorite. Going to conventions, into meeting people that actually want to talk to me for whatever reason, take pictures. And I love that stuff. And I love being around the people. So I love doing the events and the cons and running ghost hunts and things like that. And just interacting with people online. That's my favorite thing, is having fun and being a part of the community and meeting more awesome people, networking. That's where my head's at.
Well, I love that you're honest about it, because so many people are like, I'm so serious about this. You're allowed to have fun with it too. It can just be a good time. It doesn't have to be.
Well, as I do, everybody's like, I do it strictly to help people. It's like, well, no, you don't. You're full of shit. No one's doing it.
I'll say bullshit right now.
If I can help someone, awesome. I'm all for it. But I don't seek that out.
Right. And sometimes it's just not even about that. Sometimes you're going to a location that's already proven to be active. People have gathered evidence. There's no one to really help. And you just want to go to have a good time and see what you might capture. It just is what it is.
And we've actually gone to places where, this woman was frantic. She had demon prints walking up her wall, and it was pretty scary for her. And, we got there and we were able to recreate the demon print. Someone was hoaxing her, and if somebody wants to be able to sleep at night, and it's those silly little things that happen sometimes where we are, fooled. And then you can help somebody sleep better at night just by going over and being like, hey, guess what? It was all just, this is what it was. And then people are like, okay, that's okay. They can go on with their lives. Something as simple as
I've never been one for residential cases, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I don't think I have it in me to be like responsible enough to handle somebody's mental state or possibility of like children being abused. Like I tried it, and I ran into so many different horrible situations that I'd rather be honest about it and just say it's not for me. Like I can't do it. You know what I mean? Than try to, and I don't know. I don't.
I'm all for them, but I don't seek them out. I'm the same as you. Like, and again, because I want to have fun. Like, but again, also if I can help someone, great. But I prefer not to do them also. And we don't do a lot. But if we get them, we certainly look into them and help best we can.
Yeah, I've done maybe like 25, 30 residential cases in my entire decade of working this, like of being in the paranormal actively, like perhaps that many. Generally, I think all of them had made some snippets to the YouTube channel or something, but there was maybe like 4 or 5 of them that were undisclosed, and they were always the best ones.
Right.
You know, the ones that people didn't want the air. They didn't want the
where it was just a really personal, private matter for them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you guys are like the most amazing couple, but you're so different at the same time. But that's what makes you guys you, and I love that. But so how do you guys investigate together? Like, I'm sure there's obviously differences in your beliefs and everything like that, which is okay. So how do you guys come together and do it at the same time?
We don't. We split up on investigations quite a bit. We are totally different animals investigating.
Yeah.
Like I will debunk everything until I'm red in the face and until I've convinced the person that didn't believe it. And Rachel hates it when I do that right off the bat because she wants to believe. She's got that innocence about her where I just walk like, no, that's not how it goes. So we split up, and then we come together at the end and kind of compare each other's night. And it makes much more sense that way.
And it's good because we actually cover more ground and we get more aspect out of it too. Video wise, a lot of the video content that we have is just kind of smushed together from us. It looks like we're together, but I mean, we're actually like in 2 separate areas. But it's good. I think men get a different response than females. So, you know how that is.
It works for us and wise too because we can split the groups up and they get 2 different experiences ghost hunting in one night because we're so different.
Right. No, that's a great way to do things, I think. And then, like, to touch on what Rachel was saying, I think just certain spirits or entities are drawn to talking to one person just because of the comfortability. So, it could change. It could easily change or be different everywhere you go, but for sure. No, that's awesome. So then you get, like, hardcore Matt in one room, and then you get a little less hardcore Rachel in the other. That's awesome, though. Yeah. Because everybody's thoughts are different when they come there anyway. It's great.
Yeah, we're all looking for something different. I'm looking to connect, I feel like, with the spirits that are innocent and that have a message and that, we only have a quarantined amount of time to sit down with in each spot. And sometimes some places are more saturated than others, and we want to spend all night. But we do rotate, and we rotate the groups, and we're able to kind of hit every, square inch of these locations to see if we can find different levels of activity. But in the end, we wind up with pretty decent evidence and, lots of ground covered, and people seem pretty happy with it.
Yeah. I have to ask Matt, being the hardcore skeptic, what's your most captivating evidence then, Matt, that truly made you say, like, whoa?
Well, I've had my own personal paranormal experiences since I was really young, and I've been a full-blown believer for a long time, but I don't really believe anyone else. Like, you have to prove to me that you had your experience. It's not to say that I don't believe people, but I approach it with a skeptical grain because as I've gotten into this even further, and especially now where we do so much with it, and I've been around so many people, There is so much BS just under the surface that if you're not looking for it, you won't see it. And I feel like everyone's out there doing it now. So my guard is always up.
There's nothing wrong with that. Rachel, Darren wants to know, with being a witch, can you channel serial killers?
I don't know if I can necessarily channel serial killers, but I have this very open vein with people that have been murdered. And I feel like, who was that person? Like, what was their favorite cereal? What was their favorite cartoon character? So it's not so much the serial killer that I can see it more as the healing energy that I try to get from the families. Like, how did they survive this? How did they go on? This was, some of these girls were like, their only child. And it's just, to me, the marvel isn't in the serial killer. The marvel is in the people that were unfortunate victims and the families and how they healed. And it's amazing. And it's inspiring to see these people that have moved beyond their tragedy and made small foundations and different things in their children's names. And that's what I'm really there for. I think that it gets muddled a lot with people are so fascinated with the person killing. And we don't pay enough attention to the people who have been murdered.
See, you just made like a huge point even for me. Like, hearing you say that, I just thought about it and I'm like, you're right. Like, I think of solely John Wayne Gacy. I think of solely H.H. Holmes. I don't, and not intentionally, but you're absolutely right. So that is really incredible.
Yeah, so my new series will be focused on these people and their lives, and less on the, event that ended their existence.
I can't wait to see it. I really can't.
Thank you.
So I have to, guys, I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but Ghost Adventures last night, they're doing their serial killer spirit series, and they're doing John Wayne Gacy. Zach Bagans had the opportunity to hold John Wayne Gacy's brain in his hand. Would you have done it if you had the chance?
I think I would have. I'm scientifically graphic.
I would have in a second.
I'm watching it and I'm just like, ooh, like I want to so badly. I just don't know if I could. Like, can you imagine what the energy felt like in that room just with that being there? I don't even know. I can't believe that woman still actually like had it. But then it was even funnier because it was like in a Tupperware container. I thought it'd be like in a jar with like, that blue juice.
It's so strange because we have so much respect for our human bodies that we take such good care and we dress the body even after the spirit has left it. And we care so much. And there is someone walking around with a brain in a Tupperware bin. It's like, we are really desensitized when these people become murderers. They become even shrouds of their clothing and pieces of their car and their graves become monumental pieces of, somebody's historical museum.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. Absolutely.
There, I don't know if you guys think virtual reality has a place in the paranormal field.
I don't think so. I think we would be. We're in the dark already. If we're trying to move around with that, we'd be tripping on everything. I don't see how it could help us yet. That's not to say down the road somebody might create something, but I don't see how it could be of service yet.
I would like to see somebody try. That's for sure. I'm not the one that would be able to pull it off. Maybe Scott Grunwald.
Right? He's probably the one that would be able to pull it off, right?
Yeah, he'll sit there and tinker with something like that until he gets a result.
Absolutely, he would. Darren said he'd be curious as to why they did the killing if they had a mental illness. Well, I think that's why the brain was kept, because they did try to research it after his death, but I don't think they found any.
I hate to say it, but it's this whole thing. They have to put them to death. It's to give the families relief. But these people are, they were talking at the time. They were telling the story, and I think sometimes even just scientifically, they should have been questioned further the living brain would have told us so much more. And the
Absolutely.
tests, they were so minuscule.
So, like, I'm a huge mental health advocate,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, so you automatically want to think like there had to have been something going on in their mind to think that way, to have the urge to kill and almost enjoy doing it, or maybe actually enjoying doing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, could somebody just be that evil where they're just like, does it have to be mental illness? Like you said, we would never truly know without talking to that living brain.
Right. And we do definitive sociopathic behaviors versus psychopathic behaviors. And, they can be muddled somewhere in between. I don't think that there's a certain standard case with any one of these serial killers. It's all very individual.
Absolutely. But at the same time, I love serial killers.
I know. It's as females, it's more popular than you would even imagine. It's more popular amongst women.
I know, and it's so strange. Like, I know everyone thinks like Ted Bundy is like, I don't think that or anything. I'm just so intrigued with how their mind works, the motive, the thought. And that's something, like you said, like, I don't truly know what that ever was. None of us probably ever will. It's all speculation.
Yeah, it's just pure and utter fascination.
Do you guys think anybody's truly been in contact with a deceased serial killer through the paranormal, like investigative wise, that you've seen?
I think it could be a possibility, but if people are claiming it, I doubt it.
It's hard to say, but how could there not be some kind of activity with that large amount of DNA, in somebody's hands at one point or another? That's got to be manifesting some kind of energy.
Do you think it'd be more likely that we'd end up communicating with their victims, though, rather than themselves?
I think based off numbers, you'd have to be.
I've run into that in the field. It's more residual a lot of the times, 3 o'clock every day when they were murdered. It's always that same live scream. It's always the same, calling out. And, so that's definitely there and capturable. If you're going into these places and you're looking for evidence, then I would say that, that scar in the universe that's created when someone's murdered is always be there. You're going to run into that.
Yeah, Eric and I actually were just driving downtown through Savannah earlier, and someone recently just was murdered on a rooftop bar of one of like the most popular hotels downtown. And it's just like weird to think like in 10 years, this is probably going to be a tour stop, for tourists to about this death. And it just really, I don't know, it hit me today. It was just weird.
Well, there's that grace period that we all struggle with in the paranormal, like between the time that someone passes and the time that it's appropriate to go to their, to start an investigation. And like Scott Grunwald said the other day, he said, investigate me right away. I mean, I'd feel the same way. Us as paranormal investigators, we know to turn the channel and to pick up the telephone to the dead and to call each other. Yeah. But there's a sensitivity issue when these people are not related to you or they're not your family member. So we have to be so careful as to not, upset the family members within the first, I feel, decade after someone passes, which is a good grace period, I feel. But you're absolutely right. It will be a pit stop. That person is forever memorialized into that structure now.
And as much as I love hearing about death and murder and the paranormal, like today it just really sunk in with me about him in particular, and I don't know why. I don't know if I was like sensing something, but like that kind of sucks at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess I have so many different views on this and what we do that it can be hard sometimes. But as long as we're not like that one person that tries to communicate like 24 hours after somebody passed away, we're good.
Yeah, and live, and being really insensitive. That's important. It's important not to be insensitive for sure.
Yeah. So you guys have a lot of things coming up. Can you tell the listeners more about that?
So November 2nd, actually, what do we got? October 25th, we're doing David's birthday party actually on the USS Salem. We're excited to go for that.
Oh, yes. That's sick right there.
That is
That's
so sick. Legendary.
Sick rice.
It's so sick.
That's going to be a great time. So we're looking forward to seeing all those guys. Then we have our private event November 2nd. And then we have our public event in Braintree, which is the Thayer House, the Gallivan House, and the barn out back, which houses all the historical items. So it's going to be three locations for one night. Really, really cheap. It's only $50. And
how can you get for that?
We have all the event links up on Warner Paranormal on Facebook, and we constantly reshare them. But the one in Braintree, you can also go to braintree-historical.org. 99.9% sure that's the website, and that's where you get the tickets and the information. But any issues, you can find them on the Warner Paranormal page and the PX page.
Awesome. So have you guys got any cool new haunted items lately? Or potentially haunted items?
The last thing that I got was my haunted trunk. We did the live reveal of that a couple weeks back. Otherwise, that was a fun one. That trunk was in an antique store, and it was setting the millimeter off before I even realized it was there. And the owner had told me about it because I had told him, "Hey, if you got anything creepy in here, I want to buy it." And I was just walking out, scanning the room, and it was going nuts, and it never does. And he said, "Oh, that's where that trunk is." It was buried under a bunch of stuff, so I couldn't see it. And when we went back the second time, it acted up again. We were able to kind of figure out where the energy was, and so we brought it home, and it lives here now, and it's got its energy to itself, but it doesn't bother anyone.
Well, that's good. That's good. And guys, we didn't get to talk about it too much, but they have many dolls, photos, trunks now. That all have a really cool backstory and may have even caused some things to happen. So, but we have a
lot of energy attached to all those items. So that's
definitely.
Wait the catalog now.
But did you ever figure out that photo that you guys had that one time? It was a beautiful photo. They were kind of like standing in a field, like 1800s. And then you had like the dress.
That was the one that we believe is a picture of the woman that owned the dress that we have hanging in the living room.
Yeah. Did you guys ever find out anything else on that?
No, we have to go back and sit down with the guy that that donated it to us, Dan Reynolds. He goes into these places and he's able to get some of the stuff that needs to be salvaged. And if not, some of these items could potentially be discarded, and we don't want that.
Yeah. Oh, I have to go watch the trunk video though. So everybody go watch their lives. They're so much fun. They're engaging, cool, intriguing. Really quick, guys, before I let you go, Darren wants to know what's on your bucket list in terms of locations.
Well, I'll blast off a few quick ones right now. So Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, Moundsville Penitentiary, Mansfield Penitentiary, Winchester Mystery House, Chernobyl, and Pavilia Island.
And Savannah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. See, that was mine. That's my number one currently. I'm going to definitely, there's so much history. And, of course, you guys.
I said locations, not a whole geographical area, but what do I know?
Rachel, has the perfect place to take you to. It's called it's called Wright Square. And it's actually the site of the first woman actually ever executed in the history of Georgia. But it also says that she was a witch, and there's this huge backstory and where she was hung. And I think you would it's totally up your alley.
I would love that. Oh my gosh, you'll never get rid of me.
I know, it's okay.
Matt's saying yes.
All right, so guys, go check out Warner Paranormal, PXP. Rachel, is Paranormal Expedition separate page?
Yes, totally separate.
Okay. So PXP, Warner Paranormal, and Paranormal Expeditions, guys. Matt and Rachel are always on there. Go check them out. Like their pages. Share. And go buy some tickets to their events. Thank you guys so much for being on with me. I truly appreciate it. We miss the crap out of you. we're so excited for everything that you guys are doing, and we support you 1,000,000% no matter what.
Thank you. We miss you too so much. We can't wait to see you again.
Yes. So book your trip to Savannah now.
Yeah.
I watch all the airfare tickets, trust me.
Awesome, guys. Everyone's saying awesome guests, great show. You guys are so loved.
We appreciate it.
We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Everyone have a great night. Thank you to the live listeners. Thanks to everyone in chat. And thank you to everyone that may be listening later. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night.
Good night.